That is one of the great excitements of intellectual conversation, that it could result in someone changing his or her mind. It seems to me that that has been the case of every successful meeting I've ever been a part of, which is why I go to them. Most of them don't show much signs of success, and therefore, as Gennady will tell you, I am famous for ignoring meetings. But this is one, I think, which is well worth doing, because one of the virtues of an intellectual argument, however irrelevant you may believe it is that it could cause you to change your mind. Epistemologically, let me entirely endorse what you say about my working in cultural products. Cultural products are my data, and reason is my test tube, and that's the way I function, and I'm happy to do that. What relationship that has to the real world, I suppose at any given moment will depend upon the definition of real, but I'm sure that we can agree at some level by the time we're done as to what that might be. David.
So, first of all, in preparation for this conference, I read 2 of Dr. Atkins' books, which I mentioned to him prior. So, I know the enemy.
It is only animal. It is
No. So, to set the stage with information, both Reverend Chilton and Lawrence Schiffman come at...
How come he gets to be Lawrence and I have to be Reverend?
On purpose.
Oh, okay.
On purpose.
Just asking.
On purpose.
All right.
Come at the world with a set of assumptions. I call them religious assumptions. That's the earth they stand on, and they go from there. I write metaphysics without any assumptions, just to have clarity in the situation. I don't take any assumptions from religion, including Judaism, as given. I start with a fresh slate, although my book is written within a Jewish context to give it texture and flavor, just to be clear. But to get to the heart of the matter, because ultimately I felt this conference would come to precisely this point that Dr. Atkins is raising. In Dr. Atkins' books, he maintains that the source of everything, in fact, the source of Dr. Atkins, is decay. Is that true or not?
Yeah.
Correct. It's decay.
But,
it's decay.
For the moment.
Yes, for the moment. Come on.
Yes.
First, I want to commend you on being an honest person.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Aristotelian.
According to my metaphysics, the source of Atkins is potential and extraordinariation. And Atkins has to decide, is he the product of 1 billion years of decay or 1 billion years of extraordinariation?
I go for decay.
That's correct. And therefore, that's what he votes. That's what he votes. Understand the stakes here. If Atkins is correct, the great Professor Atkins, and he's achieved greatness in many fields, is the product of decay. Okay? Let's all understand the stakes. If he wins, he loses. That's my
I think you have a, yeah, please. Yeah.
But it's such a wonderful defeat.
Not really, but I won't belabor the point. But just to set the stage with Dr. Atkins' own words. Not to belabor
Good.
them.
I think we'll return to this. I think Norman first, and then Marcelo. Yeah?
Never will science be able to acknowledge the existence of God, because the equipment needed will have to be more subtle than the thing that it measures. No proof.
Marcelo.
I just wanted to say that decay, but perhaps that's a wonderful thing, because if indeed all we are a product of a sequence of accidents and imperfections, and yet we are able to be this conglomerate of matter that can think about the universe, that is a very glorious kind of decay.
Well, I have what I call the 7-year-old test. Line up 100 7-year-olds and ask them, which is more likely, that Atkins is a product of decay or is a product of extraordinariation?
And just by looking at me, they can say decay.
No. No. When you get to very fancy philosophers, they can rationalize anything. But when you ask what I call the 7-year-old test, you will tend to get to the heart of matters very quickly. All the scientists, or many scientists, like apparently these two gentlemen here, actually believe this. It's beyond belief. That we're the product of decay. That the universe, the butterflies, rainbows, love, poetry, Tennyson, you name it, is a product of decay.
And that's what makes it
and it's
beautiful.
frankly unbelievable. It's frankly unbelievable.
But it's frankly wonderful.
That's
to
the
understand
beauty of it.
And what we've got to do this week.
I'm at an age where I'm betting on decay myself. So get out of here.
It becomes intriguing more and more with every second here.
Yeah, that's because we're...
Here we have a classical dualism between decay and construction, and is this the only two ways of looking at things?
Yeah.
Is it possible that decay and construction go together? For example,
Extraordinary.
if there is if construction occurs as a result of entropy, which is a decay, it's entropy that allows things to cool off and congeal in matter, then maybe decay and construction are not that far apart. But my question is really more to Bruce than to... Bruce, you feel that, I feel strongly, and I may be in minority or here, that a dialogue, a very constructive dialogue between science and religion is really important, because there's a lot of wisdom in both of these fields. Do you think Gnosticism can do this? Can negotiate this? Because you've seen, there's a rift here. Do you feel that this can do it? That this can really explore this?
Well, I wouldn't wish to oversell my proposal, because all I'm saying is that when I look at David Birnbaum's system, and when I look at the work of, there's a very interesting person who's active in publishing and on the internet named Miguel Conner, who sees himself as revising a form of Gnosticism. It seems to me that this is the intellectual matrix of what we're talking about. And because it is the intellectual matrix, insofar as that is where it seems we ought to see where it came from and how it developed, and the ways in which we are now going at questions differently. I do believe that the valuation of matter at the moment by people who are drawing on the Gnostic tradition represents a major change in the movement, in its own way, as major as the issue of whether we should regard consciousness as being defective or as being withdrawn. These are, in fact, important philosophical decisions that people are making as they move ahead. They are doing so in order to account for data and their reception. I'm very much looking forward to Tammy Knighton's paper, because as far as I can see, it is exactly in the early modern period where the revaluation of what matter means causes major changes not only in scientific but also in philosophical thought. On a completely different project, I've just been reading some of Isaac Newton's notebooks. And what he has to say about the religious significance of the vacuum of space strikes me as being an extraordinary way of expressing how it is that in his time he was seeing matter differently. So I am, to go back to Peter's comment, I am operating within the limits of what I believe are my certainty. That is, I think that I can refer to evidence of what people have thought. That is what I do. That's the business of history.
I think history is wonderful. And it's not entirely bulk, but most of it is wonderful.
Yep.
And I think it's a part of a civilized environment to understand the historical springs of understanding, but not to be trapped.
Exactly.
And that's where we have to
Yeah.
move on.
Donald, please, you've been very patient, thank you.
Well, right, I forgot what I was going to say.
I feared that.
That's something to do with the shock of hearing David Birnbaum seem to say that what we believe has something to do with, I mean, what the truth about the universe might have something to do with how we feel about it. That's to say that something is believable or not believable because it's repellent to our feelings. So I must have heard it wrong.
Counterintuitive. If I said to you, you are an igloo piece of ice, it's not because it's being repellent, it's counterintuitive. You don't think you're an igloo piece of ice.
I mean,
I'm saying when Atkins says, I'm the product of decay, it's just counterintuitive.
I mean, I realize it's very scientific and you say it, but counterintuition is the essence of science. It's all counterintuition.
Well, then there's no end to anything. All right.
I don't mean to say
I don't want to.
Tammy has a comment. She's really been patient.
Well,
Yeah.
I just have to say this because this is the crime of my field, okay? In philosophy, everyone loves to put so much stock in intuitions. And since we do have a diverse group here, let's just get it on the table. I find I'm not so big on experimental philosophy, but here's one point I think people are making in this field. If you actually survey people, they don't all have the same intuitions. So this appeal to some human intuition, usually it means white male educated, certain background intuition. So let's get that out of the way. And we're talking about different religious traditions where people have different intuitions from the get-go. I think the history of science is very interesting because the intuitions of what science is have changed. The intuition of what knowledge is has changed. So I just want to, if we're going to banter around the word intuition, let's really try to say what we're talking about, because if we mean this is my intuition, therefore all humanity has this intuition, that usually has been shown to be false when people investigate. I just want to say that.
I would like to argue at the level not of intuition, but viscera, that it is the time when they said that we would be eating. And that this is an important observation to make that I think we can all take home and we can all speak about further. Thank you for an excellent discussion.